In 1968, it took under 20 seconds to win a gold medal and 1 second to change the world. Leading up to the 1968 Olympics in Mexico, protests over police violence, poor housing conditions, and abject poverty broke out in over 100 different American cities during the long summer of 1967. That same year, on the campus of San Jose State, 4 luminaries, Dr. Harry Edwards, Dr. Ken Noel, John Carlos, and Tommy Smith, set the stage for a courageous statement of conscience that would reverberate for decades and reinforce a model of athlete activism that shapes America today. Noel and Edwards had earlier co-founded the United Black Students for Action to addressing housing segregation, unequal and racist treatment of student athletes, and limited educational opportunities for students of color. UBSA favored a boycott of a football game against Texas Western in 1967, but the university responded to their demands.
We have to understand, particularly in the case of Black people, that the challenges of our circumstances are diverse and dynamic, changing, always have been. Therefore, our struggle has had to be multifaceted in all kinds of different arenas and perpetual.
Edwards and Noel formed the Olympic Project for Human Rights, or OPHR, after recruiting Carlos and Smith and others to join. OPHR's goal was to protest racial discrimination and injustice while drawing attention to a nation using Black athletes for its glory while failing to live up to its promises.
Kenneth Noel and I were co-organizers of the Olympic Project for Human Rights in 1968. We felt that this was not just an opportunity but an obligation for this generation to make a statement.
OPHR tactic was to have Black athletes boycott the 1968 Olympics in Mexico unless 4 conditions were met. The return of Muhammad Ali's title, which had been stripped because of his conscientious objection toward the war in Vietnam. The exclusion of South Africa and Rhodesia from participating in the Olympics because of their apartheid practices. The removal of International Olympic Chair Avery Brundage, an anti-Semite and racial supremacist who signed the deal that permitted Nazi Germany to host the 1936 Olympics, and the hiring of more Black coaches. After the Olympic Committee banned South Africa and Rhodesia, Black athletes decided to participate in the Olympics and to act individually on any protest. The question became whether any athlete would have the courage to do so. Smith and Carlos answered emphatically.
How can we impact this? How can we make a statement that says to this nation, we are better than Black churches being bombed. We are better than Black leaders being shot down in broad open daylight. We are better than discriminatory redlining of housing opportunities and communities and so forth. We're better than that, and we need to make that statement.
On just the second day of games, Smith won the gold medal in the 200 meter, setting a world record, and Carlos won the bronze. As the American national anthem played, Smith and Carlos, wearing OPHR buttons, bowed their heads and raised fists and black gloves in solidarity with the struggle. The 2 men appeared shoeless and in black socks to protest poverty and were adorned with beads to protest lynching of Black Americans. The reaction was swift and hostile. Smith and Carlos were expelled from the Olympic Village, removed from the American track team, and sent home. Rumors reportedly planted by the IOC that the duo had been stripped of their medals were patently false. Repercussions and financial hardship for Carlos and Smith persisted for years. They had no regrets. They recognized they were on the right side of history.
We asked ourselves the question quite deliberately and specifically, if not us, with the opportunity that we have to get this done, then who?
Ultimately, Carlos and Smith's courageous stance would earn them long overdue redemption. The U.S. Track and Field Hall of Fame would induct Smith in 1978 and Carlos in 2003. In 2005, A statue showing Smith and Carlos on the medal stand was dedicated on the San Jose State University campus. In 2008, Carlos and Smith received the Arthur Ashe Award for Courage at the 2008 ESPY Awards. In 2016, President Barack Obama praised the duo at the White House. In 2019, Smith and Carlos were inducted into the Olympic and Paralympic Hall of Fame in Colorado Springs. The actions of Edwards, Noel, Smith, and Carlos are embedded in current athlete activism and calls for equality and social justice.
The NAACP has sustained, persevered in the struggle for more than 110 years. To be honored by a group that has sustained is an honor indeed.